I'm going to continue my video series on Henry Ward Beecher and his sermons by discussing the resurrection of Jesus. Now, who are your real friends? You say, wait a minute, I thought we were going to discuss the resurrection of Jesus. Oh, yes, we are. Just be patient. Now, think about this. Who are your real friends? Well, if you ever become infirmed, or if you ever start experiencing financial difficulty, you'll find out who your real friends are in a quick hurry. As a matter of fact, if you think your friends will not show up to your funeral, then they probably aren't your real friends. Perhaps you should think about how you treat your friends. Maybe you should treat them better. Because let me tell you something, when you become infirmed, or you go into financial difficulty, or if you ever pass away, you're going to want your real friends surrounding you. And if you don't think you have any, you're in real trouble. Okay? Now, although it's true that none of Jesus' disciples showed up to his funeral, Jesus didn't hold a grudge. He immediately forgave them for their short-sightedness. Now, let's think about that for a second. Let's say your friend borrows your lawnmower and doesn't return it right away. Do you hold a grudge? Think of the minor infractions that happen between friends. Do you hold grudges over those? If there was anybody on the face of the earth that had a right to hold a grudge, it was Jesus. Here he had been crucified and then buried, not in his own tomb, but in somebody else's tomb. And he was literally dead for 3 days, unjustifiably. Now there's a guy that had a right to hold a grudge. Did he? I mean, think about it. His own disciples, the people he cared about so much and taught them so much, didn't even bother to show up to his funeral. If there was anybody that had ever lived on the face of this earth that had a right to hold a grudge, it was Jesus. But did he? No. So you might want to think about that when you have a minor dispute with one of your friends. Think about it. Okay? Now, who were the first people that saw Jesus? Was it his disciples? No. As a matter of fact, no male relative of Jesus, nor any male friend of Jesus, got up early in the morning to go see Jesus at his tomb. Not one of them. You know who showed up? Women. Women friends. Women family members. They were the ones that showed up to the tomb of Jesus. They were the first ones to see him resurrected. And what did Jesus tell these women when he saw them? These were the first people that ever saw Jesus out of the tomb after his resurrection. What did he tell them? Did he stand there and murmur and complain about the crucifixion, how horrible it was? Or how horrible it was to be dead for 3 days? Did he talk about where his soul went the entire time while he was dead for 3 days? Did he do any of that? No. The first words out of the mouth of Jesus were words of joy and comfort. Think about that. How do you treat women? Do you treat women in such a way that if you ever became infirmed or if you got into financial difficulty, they would get up real early in the morning just to come see you? Maybe you should treat women better. Whether you agree with them or not, maybe you should treat them better. Think about it. I mean, what woman would look forward to seeing you if you came all the time murmuring and complaining and telling people how bad everything was? They wouldn't want to see you for very long. They wouldn't make a special effort to see you. Now, I didn't say you couldn't talk about some of the bad experiences you've had, but if all you talk about are the bad things, and you never talk about the good things, well, they're not going to want to talk to you very long. That's a fact, Jack. If you're nothing but a big bowl of grease, they're not going to want to see you. So before you treat women poorly ever again, you think about the way Jesus treated those women when he resurrected from the grave. If there was anybody that had anything to complain about, Jesus did. Think about it. He had been crucified, he had been put in a borrowed tomb, and his friends didn't even show up to his funeral. Boy, that's a load to complain about. But Jesus didn't mention any of this. Not to those women and not to anybody else either. Think about that. You'll either let the problems of the world overcome you, or you will overcome the problems. And that's the way it works. So are you an overcomer, or are you one of those people that lets the world overcome you? Think about that. Alright. There's a lot more that I would like to say about all this, but I don't want to waste my time on this particular video, so I will make a separate video and tell you the rest of what I want to tell you. I will tell you more in a future video, so stay tuned.